Hey there, TRASTRA fans. Episode 81 of our beloved Newsreel is going to be a major rager, so you might want to grab a pen, paper, and use a voice recorder so you don't miss anything. The highlights include eToro receiving approval to offer crypto services across the European Union, a big win as they expand globally. Across the ocean, the state of New York released stricter guidance around coin listings that require more monitoring and approval for riskier assets. I'll link the framework in the description. An infinitely curious document. I suggest you study it very closely if you plan on investing in digital assets in the United States. Tether resumed lending out USDT less than a year after claiming they would stop a weird and dangerous development. We'll talk about that. JPMorgan labeled activity following Ethereum's Shanghai upgrade as disappointing. DeFi also took a hit in August with declining volume and activity, according to VanEck research. I'll link that as well. The Mt. Gox trustee extended the claims deadline by a year to October 2024 as creditors continue waiting to recover funds. Debtors of FTX sue Sam's parents. I kind of feel pity for the couple who in their sunset years have to deal with this bullshit. Tim Draper, I'm sure you know who that is, launched a new crypto and DeFi startup studio, while blockchain gaming pioneer Amit Mahajan raised $33 million for his new Web3 game studio called Proof of Play. There's some interesting developments there. We'll definitely cover those. The round was led by none other than Andreessen Horowitz. I'll treat you to some juicy gossip on that. So let's put on our news consumers hats and dive right into episode 81 of TRASTRA Newsreel. Cryptocurrency-friendly brokerage firm eToro is expanding its crypto services worldwide after securing new regulatory approval in Europe. eToro has received a crypto asset service provider registration from the Cyprus Securities and Exchange Commission, the firm officially announced on September 21st. According to eToro, the registration will authorize it to offer regulated crypto services to all countries in the European Union from one single entity known as eToro Europe Digital Assets. The registration will specifically come into effect once the EU's markets in crypto assets regulation, the famous MiCA, becomes active in December 2024. Last Monday, New York State Department of Financial Services published a new framework that sets higher standards for crypto firms around coin listings and delisting policies, and defined which type of coins would require the department's approval for listing. The guidelines also emphasize the necessity of monitoring and periodic reevaluation of coins, which must be done annually at a minimum. Like I told you in the intro, I will link that document in the description. I would suggest you study it thoroughly. U.S. banking giant Citigroup has started a tokenization service for cash management and trade finance for institutional clients using blockchain technology and smart contracts, the bank said last Monday. In this equation, smart contracts serve the same purpose as bank guarantees and letters of credit, the bank said. In a pilot, Citi worked with shipping company Maersk and the Canal Authority to try and expedite the processes, which are generally pretty lengthy and owing to the paperwork and manual processes involved. According to the bank, institutional clients have a need for always-on programmable financial services, and Citi Token Services will provide cross-border payments, liquidity, and automated trade finance solutions on a 24/7 basis. I think it's a major development, especially for those who are on a permanent quest for a use case for blockchain. So, Laser Digital Asset Management, a subsidiary of the largest Japanese investment bank Nomura, has launched the Bitcoin Adoption Fund, the first in the series of digital adoption investment options. The fund offers, quote, long-only exposure to Bitcoin, end quote, and is a segment of Laser Digital Fund's segregated portfolio company. The aim of the fund is to provide, what else? Institutional investors with a secure path into digital asset investment. Nomura Holdings is a $500 billion financial giant that provides brokerage, investment banking, and asset management services. Mt. Gox trustee Nobuaki Kobayashi has officially changed the deadline for paying back the exchange's creditors from October 31st, 2023 to October 31st, 2024. Presently, the Mt. Gox estate holds some 144,000 Bitcoin, 143,000 Bitcoin Cash, and 69 billion yen. Mt. Gox was one of the earliest cryptocurrency exchanges, once facilitating more than 70% of all trades made with the blockchain ecosystem. Following a major hack in 2011, the site collapsed in 2014 due to alleged insolvency. The fallout affected about 24,000 creditors and resulted in the loss of about roughly 850,000 bitcoins. Debtors of FTX have launched legal action against SBF's parents, alleging that they misappropriated millions of dollars through their involvement in the crypto exchange. The plaintiffs argued that Joseph Bankman and Barbara Fried exploited their access and influence within the FTX empire to enrich themselves at the expense of the debtors in the FTX bankruptcy case. The debtors alleged that SBF's parents were very much involved in the FTX business from inception to collapse, contrary to what SBF had claimed. According to the complaint, Bankman and Fried extracted significant unnamed rewards from their involvement in FTX Group, including a $10 million cash gift and a $16.4 million luxury property in the Bahamas. I would call it capitalism. You know what? I mean, unless you want to enrich yourself, why the hell would you want to get involved in any financial enterprise, let alone something as lucrative as FTX at the time? Moving on. Ethereum-based automated market maker Balancer believes a social engineering attack on its DNS service provider was what led to its website's front end being compromised on September 19th, leading to an estimated 238,000 in crypto stolen. Blockchain security firm SlowMist and Certicay reported that the attacker employed angel drainer phishing contracts. SlowMist said that exploiters attacked Balancer's website via border gateway protocol hijacking, a process where hackers take control of IP addresses by corrupting internet routing tables. The hacker has already bridged some of the stolen ETH to Bitcoin addresses, so this is not going to be an easy one. JPMorgan analysts labeled Ethereum's post-Shanghai upgrade activity as disappointing, despite significant energy consumption reduction and increased staking. Ethereum's daily transactions, daily active addresses, and total value locked via DeFi protocols on the network have all experienced declines, the analysts noted. Bearish forces such as the FTX and Terra collapses, US regulatory challenges, centralization concerns, and waning institutional interest were cited as actors overshadowing the Shanghai upgrade's more positive effects. Tether Holdings resumed lending out USDT to customers less than a year after it said it would wind down the practice. Tether Holdings lending represents a potential risk to the crypto world, actually. The majority of the assets listed on the company's reports are treasury bills and other safe instruments easily converted to dollars. Loans are different. Tether Holdings can't be certain that loans will be paid back, that it could sell the loans to a buyer for dollars in a pinch, or that the collateral it holds will be adequate. So imagine the bank run when everybody realizes that. Anyway, let's just move on. Hong Kong-based cryptocurrency exchange CoinEx has revealed that compromised private keys allowed hackers to steal over $70 million worth of tokens. According to CoinEx representatives, the amount represents a small percentage of its total assets under management. CoinEx stated that affected users will be compensated entirely for any lost funds. The exchange explained that a preliminary investigation pinned the root cause to a compromised private key for its hot wallets. These were used to store exchange assets to carrying out deposits and withdrawals. I don't know. The DeFi ecosystem suffered more setbacks in August as on-chain economic activity dwindled. According to an analysis from investment manager firm VanEck, exchange volume declined to $52.8 billion in August, 15.5% lower than in July. The findings are based on VanEck's Market Vector Decentralized Finance Leaders Index, which tracks the performance of the largest and most liquid tokens on DeFi protocols. Non-trading, a trading tool for cryptocurrencies and non-fungible tokens built on Discord, has shut down due to a critical exploit within the infrastructure. In a September 20th announcement, non-trading said it had lost a significant amount of funding, as well as team tokens crucial for its operations. Alongside, it's a quote, alongside this, we have lost 3 core team members who are required to keep the project running healthily. This unfortunate incident has put us in a financial and infrastructural position that makes it simply impossible to continue running the company effectively, end quote. So that's gone. Billionaire Tim Draper, a prominent venture capitalist and early investor in companies like Hotmail and Tesla, has launched a new crypto venture studio and accelerator despite the ongoing bear market. The new venture studio called Draper Gorin Blockchain, DGB, will focus on accelerating decentralized finance and Web3 startups. Draper has been a vocal supporter of Bitcoin and has predicted that the cryptocurrency will soar in value amid economic uncertainty in the US. However, he has also expressed concerns about crypto regulation and the potential for government intervention in the industry. So, Proof of Play, a game studio and blockchain technology company rolled into one, as they call themselves, headed by Farmville co-creator Amit Mahajan, has raised $33 million to develop Web3 games. The financing was co-led by some serious bigwigs, including Andreessen Horowitz and Green Oaks, with participation from Naval Ravikant and the Twitch founders. The proof of play team includes experienced members from Epic Games, Zynga, EA, Activision, and Google. Right now, the single entry on their game roster is something called Pirate Nation, an NFT game whose visuals hark back to the time Tetris was a global sensation. But I'm sure Mark Andreessen, who had trouble explaining Web3 use cases a year ago, has done some hard studying, and this time around, he knows what he's doing. This tweet is still up. I highly recommend. You know what? I'm going to play the whole clip for you. It's only 3 minutes, but it's really fascinating. Just listen to a person who invests $33 million into something they can't really, fully explain. Check this out.
What I'm hoping, and what we're actually seeking at the firm, what we're trying very hard to fund, I'm hoping, for example, for podcasts, I'm hoping 5 years from now, there will be these thriving, call it Web3 podcast environments that will be open and will be, it will have this sort of anarchic, uncontrolled kind of element that I think you and I both like. However, we'll have a higher level of trust and we'll have a higher level of monetary incentive and economic incentive than the open networks of the past usually did. And so there's this third way, and this is still early, but like we're quite optimistic that there might be a new way to build these systems, and I'm excited to see what happens.
But what's the concrete advantage of Web 3.0 for podcasts? So right now, you and I may not feel like it, but we are anarchic and uncontrolled, right? Like we can say something, some external force isn't going to censor us. Why is this a better podcast if it's done through Web 3.0? Why can't we just put it out there?
Yeah, well, the most obvious thing is just money. You don't get paid.
How does someone like Rogan, it doesn't have to be him, but a well-known podcast host, how does that person get paid in a better way through Web 3.0? Make that more concrete for us.
Yeah. I mean, they can pick their business model. I mean, they can pick their business model. They can decide a subscription-based business model. Microtransactions. They can pick. They can pick whatever model they want. They can also have indirect. There's this whole new rise of this kind of the non-fungible token. Kind of this idea of unique digital assets. There's, completely different monetization methods that are opening up for media. It's entirely possible in the future. For example, you'll have entire, forms of media like video games and sporting events and music and so forth that will monetize in completely different ways through the creation of, unique digital property, that gets sold and trades. And so it's injecting economics. It's injecting at a very fundamental level kind of internet native money, internet native economics and incentives into a system that simply hasn't had that. And of course, this isn't to say that everything needs to cost money. This isn't to say that lots of people won't choose to have things be free. But the ability to, let's put it this way, the hard decision between let's say, total independence and no money, and then having a traditional contractual relationship with one company, like that shouldn't be the trade-off. There should be lots of room in the middle for experimentation, and that's the zone we're heading into now.
But is the key difference easier micropayments? Is the key difference sort of being able to sell collectibles more readily, say with the NFT model, rather than signed T-shirts? They don't sound very big to me. They both sound like possible advantages. But as a percentage of GDP, they sound like really tiny advantages.
Well, it depends on the percentage of GDP. I mean, it's a percentage of GDP, like everything is tiny compared to like healthcare. So I mean, the media industry is quite small, right? Like if you look at a slice of percentage of GDP, like it actually turns out it's actually really interesting. Like video games, it turns out is actually quite large, but like
yes.
Television, print, newspapers, have always been a tiny slice of GDP. Like magazines have always been a tiny slice. Book publishing has always been a tiny slice. But they're tiny slices that really matter. So I don't really look at it. I don't really look at it top down. I don't really look at it as like, okay, this therefore has to lead to like an expansion of 100xing the media business. Like that's not maybe I think it grows the media business, but it doesn't have to like it cause it to explode like that.
Yeah, that was that. Wow. So it's just kind of confusing. Anyway, finally, remember when NFTs sold for millions of dollars? Yeah, well, report by DAP Gamble, based on data provided by NFT Scan and CoinMarketCap, showed that out of 73,257 NFT collections the researchers looked at, 69,795 of them had a market cap of 0 ETH. That means that roughly 95% of digital collectibles out there may now be worthless. Do with this information what you will. I'm willing to reiterate the title of the article I wrote for TRASTRA blog in April of 2021, so more than over 2 years ago. Are NFTs dumb? You bet. Are they awesome? Absolutely. That's the title of the article. Read the piece. I think it aged incredibly well. I still think that tokenized also known as fractional ownership of anything, art, technology, derivatives, all kinds, anything. It's a great idea, but a trustless environment, permissionless protocols, decentralized identities, all that crap. There's nothing more than a convenient pitch to grab your money while ridding oneself of any liabilities whatsoever. Who did it? A DAO did it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you've subscribed to the channel already. If you haven't, please do so. Please subscribe to our TikTok where we keep the short ones. And I bid you adieu. See you in the next video. Peace.